So as we bring in five-time Grey Cup champion Jim Barker, I want to ask you, I want to lead with this, Jim, on a very big weekend in the NFL. It's the very first ever Black Friday game today. The Dolphins are at the Jets. First ever in NFL history. Amazon Prime's carrying it. How do you feel about the NFL gobbling up another day, Black Friday, and trying to make it a tradition?
And they have to do it at 3 o'clock so they don't violate the rule. I don't like it. I mean, Fridays are, I'm from the U.S. and the Thanksgiving Day game stunk yesterday. I mean, that's just part of what happens sometimes with the Lions, as bad as they've been over the years. And then you think this is the year on Thanksgiving, they're finally going to win, and couldn't do it. And then, Jack Del Rio gets fired for his effort as a defensive coordinator in the Washington game. So it was just a long day yesterday of NFL. But I love Friday college football. Like Nebraska and Oklahoma, those teams playing on television on Fridays. That's just what I grew up with. So I don't like dipping into the doing things new. I mean, the NFL has enough viewership. They go to Saturday, Sunday, maybe this week or now soon. Soon they go to Saturday, Sunday games. So that's enough. And, they have a Thursday already. I don't like the Friday at all.
Hey, I appreciate the answer, and it's interesting that you say that because it feels like everything they do works. But in the college front, you're right, 13 games tonight, including Ohio at Akron, Curtis Rourke, which is a story for another time, or maybe we'll get to it later in this segment. You didn't come on to talk about that. We're going to talk about the 110th Grey Cup and an amazing comeback by my guy, Cody Fajardo and the Alouettes. He'll be on this show on Monday, Cody. Take me through it all, Jim, the week and then the game, and your thoughts.
Well, the week was very good. Hamilton put on a great Grey Cup, and it seemed well attended. It seemed people had a great time. Coming into the game, it was hard to figure out how Montreal would score. And Cody can say what he wants, but in terms of how people viewed them, but when you looked at what that organization went through, losing Eugene Lewis and not having a lot of choices. And yeah, they took Cody, and good on Jason Moss for doing that. And I was excited to watch him. When he made that last throw to Philpott, that was a big time throw. And it was like, wow, this guy has vindicated himself in terms of his own mind and his own what he needs to move forward as a viable quarterback in this league. And, I think Cody is a guy that has some tools, and if he can learn to play within his, within himself, he can do this again. So I was really excited to watch that happen. I was surprised at the game, at the way the whole thing turned out. I thought the second half, Winnipeg I don't know, it seemed like they were on the verge, and they just never were able to make it happen. And we had a big discussion at halftime about the decision by Montreal to go for it on 3rd and 1 from the 1, and with 20 seconds left. If there was a minute 20, for sure you go for it. But with 20 seconds, it's going to be the last play of the half. I just thought that was a wrong move. But Jason Moss knows his team, and to his credit, they went in the locker room and they came out in the first drive they scored. Now, in my mind, if they'd kicked the field goal, they come out the first drive, that's a 10-point turnaround. To me, that's big. But not scoring on the 1-yard line didn't affect them. They came right down. And again, Cody threw a strike to Cole Speaker, and they made a lot of gutty calls and a lot of gutty plays in that game. I mean, that 3rd and 5 call, it looked like it was double hitches and a go route, and the corner just kind of was in limbo. Didn't think they would throw a go route on 3rd and 5, and the hitch in front of him, or the little outcut in front of him, brought him up a little bit. And Cody made a good enough throw to Cole Speaker, and he made a great catch. So the game was more exciting. I know I was part of the winning team in the year before, but I think this game was more exciting football game. The last year's was exciting, the last 8 minutes, no question. But this game was pretty interesting all the way through. I found it to be a really interesting football game.
It was great, and you guys did amazing on the Grey Cup broadcast. My only problem was CFL Plus didn't start carrying it till 6 p.m. Eastern. I'm like, hello, we got a full day of coverage here on TSN. Hello. But whatever. It is what it is. Maybe they'll do it next
5
year.
hours.
This was the first year. Yeah. Well, hey, that's fun stuff for media. Guys like me. I enjoy that. And hey, yeah, and when you talk about the excitement level of a game, it helps to have a rooting interest. And for me, I was on the edge of my seat for the Owls and Cody and Jason Maas, and they had a lot of opportunities. You said that they blew. They were down 17-7 at halftime. Could have been up 14-10. So for them to come back, so much has been made of Cody's speech the day before. I'd like to know what Jason Maas did at halftime, but we'll delve into that. This whole story it's a DVD, it's a movie, it's a book, if anybody wants to do it. I promised the question here from Kirk in Toronto I would ask you. He says, could you please ask Jim if he thinks Chad Kelly can recover from a truly horrific playoff meltdown? Thank you.
Wow. I haven't talked to Chad yet. All the things came out about this. I don't know. He can go. It was interesting. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and he could go 16-0 again or 18-0 during the regular season, and nothing matters for him until he gets back to an Eastern Final and plays well there. I think he had something happen to him that hasn't happened before, and his response to it, over time, I thought at the time after the game, I thought everything was great, and then to go into the things about the injury and this and that. And I just thought it kind of tainted what he's had as a great 2 years publicly. Again, he's got to toughen up and just be able to deal with it, put that behind him, and move forward. Physically, there is no question he's going to be dynamite. I think the Argonauts are in a great position because they've got a younger guy that can take them forward for the next, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I hope he gets over it. How do you, it's like a guy missing the free throw that costs his team everything. Now it wasn't one play, but it was obvious he played in a way he hadn't played all year, and you could just see him grabbing the ball tighter and tighter and tighter. Trying to make a play. And, I hate the choke word. I mean, that's, but it just seemed like he was just, he just couldn't get it going at all, and started to press to get it going. And I'm going to go on the side of he needed to go through that to become the great player he's going to be 10 years from now. And 10 years from now, when he retires, he'll talk about the Eastern Final in his first season when he had a great team and he played as bad as he could play, which he did. I mean, he made plays running one way, throwing another way. I've been his biggest proponent all year long. But, he played very, very poorly and did not give them a chance to win. It's funny, we talk about quarterbacks. They can win games, but they can lose games.
For you, yeah. I'll tell you something. You just proved to me why you've had the longevity and success as a 5-time Grey Cup champion and all the other things you've done because of being a motivator and looking at the positive side of things. Because Chad's going through a really tough time right now. You may or may not know he's gone social media silent. He's not doing any interviews. He's hurting. He's in a bad place. What's interesting is all the haters can kind of point at him and go, oh, we were right. Whereas a week later in the Grey Cup, Cody, Sean Lemon, all these guys shoved it down the haters' throat. That's what we love about sports. But I told Cody when he had a tough time leaving Sask, I said, this will make you stronger. I didn't think it would happen this fast. But it did. And I'm with you. I think this will make Chad Kelly stronger. Gosh knows, I hope it does. But what choice do we have? And what I love about only having really one game to discuss is it gives us more time here to get into things like the Bombers losing back-to-back Grey Cups. there's naysayers there too now. I'm like, well, I'd rather be in their position than a lot of other teams. But if you're Winnipeg, what's the future look like for them?
Well, again, a lot of it depends. They got to get Kyle Walters' thing squared away in the front office, which a lot of teams now are trying to get that all figured out, and then go about signing their players. I think that the culture's not going to change. Mike O'Shea's not going to change. He's going to be who he is. Players are going to enjoy playing for him. But again, as time goes, things change, and that loss, I think, for them was. It was a devastating, just the way it all happened. And again, they're ahead with 11 seconds to play. I mean, it's not like they played terrible. It was a Grey Cup game, but everybody expected them to win by, 8, 9, 10 points. I mean, the spread was off the charts. And when you don't, and then after they lost the game last year when they were favored, it creates some things. I think they're still going to be one of the top teams in the West. I think those other teams have a long way to go to catch up to where they are. But again, so much in the CFL changes, and they lose Buck Pierce to Saskatchewan, and Adam Bighill decides to retire, and you say, well, Adam Bighill, he didn't have a great year, and Adam Bighill, his value is not necessarily what he does on the field. I say this a lot about the Sankey-Lemon combination. Those two guys, it wasn't about what they did on the field. Yeah, Lemon brought more sacks and Sankey brought a physical presence, but it's what they brought to the locker room. It was like 2012 when we won the 100th Grey Cup with a 500 team. The key thing in that whole season, was when I brought Adriano Belli in late September, and he came in and he made football fun for everybody in that locker room. They learned how to play CFL football the CFL way, I'll call it. And our guys just played loose. And to this day, I believe that was the key factor in us winning that game. I think a key factor for Montreal this year was what Sankey and Lemon brought into that locker room. Those personalities were needed. That leadership was needed. It was maybe an unspoken leadership. I don't know, because I wasn't there. I'm just saying that what Adam Bighill brings to that team, it's not based on how he plays. It's all the other things he does that says, this is how you're a champion. This is how you win in this league. And if you don't want to get on board, then get out. And when you have players doing that, you're going to win games. And I just believe that that's what happened in Montreal with those two guys. It's more of what they brought to that locker room. So things can change in a hurry here. Adam Bighill decides to retire. That was I believe probably a fairly serious injury, and he tried to play through it and couldn't. Is he going to come back? Then if he decides not to come back, what does that do with Willie Jefferson or Jackson Jeffcoat? And, teams are going to come with money for those people. And will they say it's not worth it? And so their team's going to change. The dynamics of their team are going to change. The key is what they lose. That will determine how they're going to be. And do they have enough core that they can, overcome that and make another Grey Cup run?
Hey, I appreciate the analysis. We have a time restraint today because Dave Campbell's in next. I got more, but I appreciate this. Has been great. Jim, thanks for everything all season long, and I hope to do it again next year.
Great. Thanks a lot, Rod. Really enjoyed it. This has been the highlight of my week, is to be able to be a part of Football Friday. And when you need an NFL thing, just give me a call, and I'll talk all about Jack Del Rio getting canned.
Okay, we will. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate you. Jim Barker, CFL on TSN, and his visits brought to you by EMJ Marketing. They will provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Look up Joe at emjmarketing.com.